Tonight we are having a UnitedCTF forensic challenge. We asked for it. We have it now. It's Emilio Gonzalez who is gonna present. Tonight we're changing many things to our setup. So we might have small issues at the beginning. We'll get these ironed out, sorted out. But the for those who are used to it, there will be no activity straight on Discord regarding the stream. Okay, regarding the main hints and the main activity with Emilio. However, the formula stays the same. We are going to be going a bit. We'll have like a short intro, and then we're gonna work on the Discord virtual tables with sound and chat around the tables. And then Emilio is gonna come back on stream and give us hints. We'll have music during the whole thing. So that's basically how it's gonna happen tonight. There is another couple of items I want to talk about. So first, there is the Trophée Cyber Talent. So I'm gonna say it in French since it's a French award. Mais c'est la première année qu'il y a un trophée Cyber Talent qui est remis à un jeune qui s'implique dans le milieu de la cybersécurité. C'est un trophée pour encourager les gens à participer dans l'univers de la cybersécurité. Il y a plusieurs volets à ce trophée-là, donc je vous encourage à aller regarder sur le site. C'est sur écolecyber.ca ou vous pouvez googler Trophée Cyber Talent pour savoir comment participer. Il reste que quelques jours pour soumettre votre candidature, donc ça finit le 31 octobre. Googlez Trophée Cyber Talent. Cyber Talent Trophy. But it's a Quebec initiative, so only resident of Quebec province can participate. We have a new logo. Can we put this thing on, Stream Master? Can you switch to it? Maybe not. Oh yes, there it was. We see it. We saw it shortly on our webpage. So we're I made a surprise for our stream master Julien. Now it's unanticipated. Damn me and my surprises. But so we did change our logo. We haven't rolled this out to Discord yet because Discord is only the small logo. So get familiar with it tonight because Discord logo will change after the evening or during the evening. Who knows? But that's good, and this should influx some more changes throughout our branding and our YouTube presence and Twitch presence as well. We also have sponsors that are coming up. If your organization is interested in sponsoring, there are many things that can happen with that. You have the ability to share job postings in our exclusive Discord channels that will be dedicated to that. You can also share job postings on email. It shouldn't be too much bother. Actually, it should be good for our community because it will be most likely cybersecurity jobs or high-tech jobs. We will also probably try to put them in at the beginning of our video. We are trying to really repurpose all of our content to make it more accessible, more compelling to consume. So more on that later. And we will probably accept donations soon. So if you're interested in a donation, I would like our Discord to get some boosts as well. So think about it if you were interested in doing that. Then I want to talk about the Ho 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 Day. So in December, we will do our Challenge Exchange Ho 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 Day special. And it will be hybrid or online only. So we're trying to find a venue for to make it hybrid. If you have something in mind in Montreal, please contact us. It's difficult. Companies are they don't want to take many risks, so it's kind of a problem to convince them to participate in presence. But we could do that in a basement of a church as long as there's a good internet connection and the ability to deliver food and power, right? So as long as these elements are there, we have power cables probably all around the place that we can gather. So it's most likely having a venue open to host people. If you want to get in touch to us regarding that, feel free to DM me or Prolog in our Discord to talk about that, and also start preparing a challenge because it will be a challenge exchange, and we might try to intensify the gamification around it this year. We'll see. And last but not least, we'll finish with virtual board games tonight if there is interest. So if you're only following on Twitch and at the end you want to do more, feel free to reach out and join on Discord and show up somewhere or write somewhere so that we know you are interested in playing some games. Last month, everyone was tired because it was too intense challenge, and I understand that totally. So we were more quiet. But this month, if people stick around, we might play some virtual board games. We've played Secret Hitler in the past. We've played a Jackbox. We have a lot of options, I think. Yeah. So that's it. Emilio, we'll have as well Emilio at the end of the stream for a short informal interview with him to talk about his background and what he's working on right now and his CTF experience and so on. So stick around or come back if you're not into doing the forensic itself. You can always benefit from that little chat with Emilio. So let's put Emilio on camera. Here he is.
Hi.
All right. So why don't you introduce us to your challenge?
Sure. So, well, first, hi, I'm Emilio. Oh, right there. I'm recently graduated from University de Sherbrooke. I was JEDI's president, which is University of Sherbrooke's Computer Science Club, and I'm a UnitedCTF co-founder along with members of JEDI at U Sherbrooke, DCI at École de Technologie Supérieure, and the CFE at Université Laval. I'm currently a cyber defense analyst slash developer programmer at everyone's favorite financial co-op. And actually, this challenge was sponsored by my employer, so you might find references of Desjardins in the files that I forgot to remove. And I'm timelessly a tab enthusiast, so this is your daily or monthly or yearly. Remember that tabs are for indentation and spaces are for token separation and alignment. So without further ado, let's get into the challenge. So we linked a virtual machine, which is kind of big. It was a 7-zip file of 20 gigs. So I hope you unzipped it and you imported it in either VirtualBox or VMware. If you have trouble doing that, we can help a bit troubleshoot once the first challenge is started, but it may take a while. So the user for the challenge is user. The password is TOOR. And all the needed tools are already installed on the machine. This challenge was meant to be an introduction. It is meant to be an introduction to Windows forensics. So it's meant to be very accessible to beginners. I'm going to give resources and the tools needed to solve each challenge. And hopefully, we can get some people interested in Windows forensics. I know when I learned about those things, I was very interested in that, and it inspired me to do a challenge based on it. And a small note: the virtual machine might close automatically after an hour or so because it's a trial machine. So just do a snapshot when it's working, and if it closes, just restore the snapshot if it comes. So let's get straight into the first flag. The first flag is about RDP cache. So the current user, which you're connected as, connected to another machine using RDP, and they viewed a flag. So we need to recover that flag. For this challenge, you're going to need a tool called BMC Tools, and I've linked a helpful video to solve the challenge by 13 Cubed. My whole track is inspired from his Windows Forensics playlist. It's very interesting, and if you like this track, I recommend you to watch the playlist. All the videos, they're very interesting, and he explains quite well the concepts. So good luck. So let's go to solve flag 1. I'm just going to go back to my original snapshot. So the RDP cache is a Windows artifact used when a client connects to an RDP to a computer using RDP. So MSTSC is the default RDP client for Windows, and when you use that and you connect to another computer, it's gonna persist bitmap cache in some files in your folder. So the purpose of that is to save bandwidth on subsequent connections. So the RDP connection uses cache. So instead of sending the whole image, when they send it once, they say, so use this preloaded image. So it saves a lot of bandwidth. And when you reconnect on the same computer again, it uses the same bitmap cache. But it has the feature or the forensics value of recovering images of a session that is already that has happened in the past. So the tool we need to parse it, there are several tools, but for this VM I use BMC tools. So it's a Python script, pretty simple to use. You specify a source and a destination. The destination is where the images are gonna be, and the source is where the we need where the bitmap cache is. So Python BMC tools. We're gonna specify destination in this folder, and the source is gonna be. I'm gonna show you. It's in local app data, Microsoft, terminal server client, and cache. So as we can see, there are 4 files here. One of them is pretty big, and the other ones are quite small. We need all of those files to parse all the needed images. So we copy this path and paste it here. It's going to take not a lot of time. Some error, but nothing major. It takes about 10 seconds, I think. All right, so we can see more than 1,000 tiles have been extracted. So each tile is an image that we're going to be able to see in the folder right here. So as we can see, we have several small images. So we can see a taskbar, we can see Chrome, stuff like that. We can see Internet Explorer being opened. We can see flag.txt. And if we scroll down enough, we can see Windows Explorer, and at some point, Google. And at some point, we're going to see images of the flag, which I printed more than once to be sure it was cut by the RDP cache. And if with a little bit of patience, we can reconstruct the flag. And here we go. So a little caveat for RDP cache. Newer version of RDPs actually use a lot less bitmaps. So the bitmap cache is way smaller, and you're not going to see as much details as there. For this CTF, I actually downgraded the RDP version to force bitmap use to have the flag, but it still has a nice forensics value. Sometimes you can see a part of sessions that could be useful in your forensics investigation. So that's it for flag 1. For flag 2, it's going to be probably easier. It's shell bags. So the same user deleted a directory with a flag in it, so we need to find the name of that directory. The directory has been deleted, but using shell bags, you can recover the name of that folder. So to solve the challenge, there is a very useful video shellbag forensics by 13Cube, and the tool needed is Shellbag Explorer. Simply using the tool should be pretty straightforward to obtain the flag. So it's not gonna take long before we show the solution to this one. Good luck. All right. Sorry for this. I actually forgot to unmute myself, so I was talking for about 3-4 minutes all alone. So let's go with flag two, shell bags. So shell bags is a forensic artifacts that is useful for in Windows. It serves the purpose of remembering specific settings for Windows Explorer. So when you open Windows Explorer, so this, and you navigate to a specific folder, it remembers settings such as what is the view settings, sort by, group by, and stuff like that. So for this folder, it remembers that my view settings is detail, but when I go in the other directory, it remembers that my view settings is large icons. So this is what shellbags is for. The main purpose that why Windows developers put it in place. But it has a lot of forensics value. So when you do an investigation, you can look for shellbag artifacts, and it can tell you a lot. So a shellbag entry is made when you visit a specific folder. It creates a shellbag entry. So the first time I'm gonna open this folder, so if I open the desktop, it's gonna create a shellbag entry, and it's gonna create shellbag entries for these as well. So it so yeah it sorry, I'm gonna start over. It creates entries when you visit the first time the folder. So if we go with a Shellbag Explorer, the tool that we can use to solve the challenge, we can load the registry, the active registry in this case, because we're doing forensics on the machine that we're investigating, which is a bit weird in the forensics world. But for the sake of the CTF, it's easier that way. But usually, when you're investigating something, you're gonna load an offline hype. So you're gonna export the registry as files and load it with this option. But for the sake of the CTF, let's load it with load active registry. So it's pretty fast. It looks in the registry and parses the data structures. So what we can see something file tree, directory tree, might I say, and we can see directories. So we can see mon flag, which doesn't actually contain the flag right away, but we can see directories. We can see when the directory has been created, when it has been modified, and when was the last time it was accessed. I'm not quite sure what this one is for, so I'm not gonna not gonna guess. And it also says what the file system is for that specific folder. So it has a lot of information in it, and we can actually navigate. The flag was actually very easy to find because I put it on the desktop. So I created the mon flag folder, and when we go on the mon flag folder, there is another one called deeper. If we go on deeper, we actually see a directory called flag-folder contenant flag 2, which is French for folder containing flag 2. So here is the flag. That was pretty easy. So that's why I didn't give you guys much time. It's pretty much open the tool, load active registry, and find the flag. So what's interesting about shellbags is that when you plug a USB drive, and usually Windows opens the Windows Explorer on the USB drive, so we can see what's in it. It actually creates a shellbag entry. So even if you unplug the USB drive, even if you unplug the USB drive, even if you delete what's on it, you can still have shellbag entries for that specific USB drive. So you can see, I don't have an example here because I didn't plug the USB drive on my VM. I should have when I think about it, but I didn't. But you would see stuff like that with the same timestamps, the same miscellaneous stuff. So you can see if someone plugged a FAT32 file system. I think I think it also shows data like the serial number of the drive, but I'm not quite sure about that one. But yeah, in a forensic scenario, if you want to investigate someone that would have plugged a USB at some point in time and put data in it and went away with the USB drive, well, shell bags could be a useful step in recovering what happened. So that's it for shell bags. Let's go with flag 3, which is link file or LNK files. In the deleted directory that we found, so flag-folder qu'on a flag 2, there was a file which was opened by the user previously. So we need to find the name of that file. And for this flag, we're going to need a tool called LECMD, which is also a tool by Eric Zimmerman. And once again, I've linked a 13Cube video to help you solve the challenge. Good luck. Hello. So let's go for the solution. And my VM closed itself. So link files. As some of you might know, link files are actually shortcuts on Windows. So they're pretty useful to put something on your desktop without putting the actual file on the desktop. So you can. So if I press new, oh, shortcut right here. I make this shortcut point to whatever file. So let's say this one. Next, I name it my shortcut. Finish. We have my shortcut right here. And if we open a CMD desktop and we look at the file, it's actually my shortcut.lnk. So those are pretty simple to make, and when you create them manually, it's not that useful. But what not many people know is that Windows create a lot of these files automatically without you noticing or knowing most of the time. So the purpose of this for a Windows perspective, the reason this was implemented in Windows was for you to have this nice feature, recent. So recent here are the recent file you open using a double click. If I double click on bash.txt, it's going to create an lnk file and put it in that folder. So spoiler alert, if I click on this, we're going to see flag dash le deuxième flag, which is French for flag dash the second flag, which is a mistake because this is the third flag, but whatever. And if we hover here, we can see the location of the flag and we can see that it's in the folder of the second flag. But the file has been deleted, so if we try to open it, Windows is like, what the fuck? This doesn't exist. But when you delete a file, Windows doesn't delete the corresponding link files. So it might still stay here. I think another way. Oh, for it. No, no, never mind. Doesn't work. Demogas are not with me. But sometimes you can find the file. You can find the file by looking at it, uh, but it doesn't work this time. Eh. So those are actually added automatically, but they are also removed automatically. Um, this is different from the shell bags. They are usually kept for a very long time, but the recent is well for recent files. So if it has been open recently, it's gonna stay there. If it's open often, it's gonna stay there most of the time. So you can see a BMC tool, BMC tools.py that I launched. Those are all in the recent file. This folder is actually located in app data. Just gonna pull the good path. It's in a roaming app data, so percent app data percent in Microsoft Windows. It's called recent item, but it's actually recent. If we look on the CMD and we do dir, we're gonna see recent. So if we open recent item and we take the path, we have the recent folder, which is the same as the one that I showed you here. So for the flag, I only asked for the file name. So actually using LECMD was not needed, but I'm still going to show you what kind of data we can gather from LNK files because it can be very useful for a forensics perspective. So I'm going to close this one and open a CMD here. I'm going to zoom in a bit. Yeah. And LECMD dash dash help. There are some options. Most of them are for output options. It's pretty straightforward. So we use LECMD and we specify the directory in which to look for, which I copied, but it didn't copy for some reason. Oh, hey, oops, I got it. Great. And we're gonna specify we want a CSV output. It's not gonna take much time, and I don't have a CSV parser installed on this machine, so it's gonna be a bit ugly. But that's all we have. So if I open it in VS Code, we're gonna see all kind of data that we can gather from a simple LNK file that is created automatically if you open a file using the GUI. So I'm gonna get back on that a bit later, but we can see that we have the source file. We have when the source file was created, modified, and accessed. The source file is the link file, but we have also the target file. So if my link file points to a txt file, we have when the txt file was created, when it was modified, when it was last accessed. We have the file size, we have where it was exactly. So we have a lot of data to work with. So this is where we have the volume serial number. So if we plugged in a USB drive and we open the txt file or whatever file in it, an entry would be created, and with the LNK file, we could see the disk serial number for the USB drive, which can be of a very nice forensics value. Even if someone wipes the USB drive, the volume serial number usually stays. Uh, if I'm not mistaken, I would not bet my life on that, but I think. So sorry, I think I had a last point with that. I don't remember. So if I remember, I'm gonna write it in the Discord or in the Twitch. But yeah, so LNK files are pretty useful for a forensics perspective. It tells you a lot of data about what happened for a specific file or for a specific files. We can reconstruct some course of events, and we can have the file size which can give a bit of a hint as to what happened on the machine, even if a file gets deleted. So that's it for flag 3. And for the last and final flag, it's about the NTFS journal. So NTFS is the file system used for Windows machine. So NT file system. For this flag, it's not the usual flag like the first three. I'm gonna ask you guys to find a timestamp. So we need to find the deletion date of the file that we found in flag 3. So the txt file that I just showed you, flag dash le deuxième flag.txt. So usually for this challenge, you need to extract specific files in the NTFS file system, and then you need to parse them using a tool. For the extraction, I used FTK Imager, and for the parsing, I used ANJP. Um, the extraction part was done because um, the parsing process, creating the database that we can consult, is a long process. It takes more than 30 minutes. So since we have limited time, I wanted that to be done and get straight to the challenge. So the file is on the desktop. It's called test4.db. This is the ANJP file database that you can use to solve the challenge. So I'm not going to give any more hint, but you can look once again the 13 cube video if you want more information. So we're going to get back to solve the challenge and wrap it up whenever I feel you're ready. Hi, I just remembered what what I forgot uh, to to tell about the LNK file and the GUI. So just a little precision about the LNK file. They're created only when you open file using Windows Explorer or whatever normal Windows mechanism for normal users, I guess. So if I'm on the desktop and I double click on bash.txt, it's gonna create or update the LNK file. But if I'm on a CMD and I open I don't even remember in CMD how to do a how to open a file. But if I open it using the CMD or whatever stuff that is not normal Windows for normal users, I guess, it's not gonna create LNK file. So the fact that an L- LNK file is not present does not guarantee that a file was not opened by the person that was using the computer. So it's an important distinction, and it's the same for shellbags, I guess. If there is no shellbag entry, it does not mean that the person did not access the files in it. It just means that they did not access the files using Windows Explorer. Ah, that's yeah. It's typed to open the file. So if I do that, it's not gonna update the LNK file for bash.txt. I, it's a bit hard to show you because almost everything is in that, but trust me, I guess. It does not work because it does not use the Windows GUI to open the file. So back to flag 4. Good luck. Welcome back. So for the final flag, nope. For the final flag, NTFS journal, let me just pull back my virtual machine right there. So the NT file system uses what most file system use, which is a journaling system. So this is a special file in the file system that stores transaction data. So when a file needs to be written, and before it's being written, it an entry is made in the journal, and then the file is created, and then the entry in the journal is marked as done. So this was made to ensure that whatever happens to the disk, let's say a power outage, it happens during a file write, which is quite likely to happen because file write and deletions are quite common operations in a file system. So if that happens, uh, it ensures the integrity of the file system, because if the creation was not done when the Windows machine boots up again, it's going to read the journal and see, oh, I was there and I was doing this operation and it wasn't done, so I need to do it. So this ensures that the drive stays in a desired state. So we didn't have to do it for this challenge, but I'm still gonna show you how to do it. There are three files useful for NTFS journal parsing. So it's here, add evidence item, physical drive, and this one, finish. It's not supposed to be that long. I'm gonna take the main partition. Oop, here goes. So as you have seen, it was written scanning MFT. So MFT is the master file table. The master file table is the record of all the files in the system, and it points to where they are in the disk, so they can be queried. The root here. So in the root of the NTFS file system, we have a special folder which is called $extend. We have also $MFT, which is the MFT file, which is, as you can see, quite it's 300 kilobytes. It's gonna take more space as there are files added in the file system. So this file is important. Log file is important. And the third one is, whoa, where is it? It's, oops, wait a minute. Oh, right, sorry. It's $USN journal. So it says the size is 0, but it's actually not 0. I'm not sure why it's written 0, but if you extract it, you're gonna have a big file which contains another file which is $J. I'm not gonna do it because it takes a while, but if you extract those three files, you can use ANJP to see the state of the journal as it was extracted. So I'm just gonna explain a bit. So as I explained, the MFT MFT files is for the index and the list of all the files in the system. Log file is a journal of the changes to the MFT files. So every time this file is changed, before that there is an entry added in the log file to make sure that this file always stays intègre with its full integrity. So yeah, this is log files utility, and the USN journal is actually the main journal, I guess. So it's the journal of the file operation. So if a file is created, an entry is gonna go there. If a file is deleted, an entry is gonna go there. But let's say a file is renamed, it's not gonna go in the USN journal. So this one, it's not gonna go there because a renaming is only a modification of MFT. So with that said, I already have extracted the needed files, so $mft, $j, and log file. If you use ANJP, you can create a case, which is not good. It's not needed there. This is the long operation I was talking about, but you can give a case name. You specify the MFT, log file, and USN, which is $j. And when it's done, you press parse. It's gonna take about 30 minutes for this drive. So since I already did that part for you, you all you need to do is load test4.db and press connect, which I think is an SQLite database, but I'm not quite sure. So as you can see, we have the MFT log file and USN reports that we can have. So in the MFT part, we have the file listing. So this is all the files in the file system. And fun fact, there can also be in that deleted files that are not there anymore, because when you delete a file, the MFT entry does not get deleted, it gets marked as free. So it might get replaced at some point instead of making the MFT file bigger, but it can stay for a while depending on the disk operation. So this is not where we found the flag. Log file are changes to the MFT file. This is not where you find the flag, but we can see some operations to the file still. So we have transaction events here, creation, deletion, and of course renames and moves which are only modifications to the MFT file. So if we look at deletions here, we can use the filter feature. As you might have noticed, it takes a while to load, and it's not quite fun to use when the UI lags that much. So if you find log file rcd name colon, so log file rcd name, like this is like an SQL statement, so you use percent for a wildcard. So if we search for flag, we add the filter and we filter, we can see that there are actually entries for the LNK files, which got deleted, but we don't have the entry for the TXT file. And I'm not comfortable enough in the log file journal to say why it was not there. I thought it would be there, but it's not. So actually, the place where we find the uh, the timestamp we're looking for is in the USN journal, which is where the deletion happens. So if a file gets deleted, there's going to be an entry there no matter what. So it's the same idea. If we go on this report, deletion, it's going to take a while to load. Filter. The file name is in the USN RCD file name. USN RCD file name. Once again, like percent flag percent. I could add the complete file, but it's not there. So here we see the file name flag, le deuxième flag, and we can see what kind of information there is. So we have a lot of rather useless information. We have timestamps as to when the operation happened. So this actually is the flag. So 2019, 11, 17. This is a UTC timestamp. So do I think minus 4 hours for our local time in Montreal. And we can see there is where is it? Uh, it's gonna be a bit long to show. It's not in the deletion event. I think it's in the creation events, but we can see what was the initial file size, which is not always which can be a pretty useful in forensics analysis. So this is the basics of NTFS file journal analysis. There is a lot more forensics analysis that can be done on the NTFS file system. Uh, we can think of alternate data stream, which is something that a lot of people know, but it's a pretty interesting file system for forensics purposes. So that's it. That was my challenge. I hope I showed you something that you didn't know. I hope that I got you interested in the Windows forensics. I know that when I learned about those things, I was really excited, and I've been loving Windows forensics ever since. So finally, there is a full write-up and the challenge description at this link. It's not shown. I posted the slides on the Discord, so if you wanna see the write up and the challenge description and a link to download the VM afterwards, you can go there. So this is the write up for United CTF. So thanks for doing the challenge
And
or dropping by.
yeah, and I was gonna add, we will link the slides on our homepage as well, so that you have access to the deck. And so, and I'm not sure if I'm gonna host the VM long, but it's gonna be there. We anyway, we need a long-term storage solution, so it might be it.
Yeah, it's 20
Otherwise,
gigabytes, so
the no, but otherwise the mega download link that Emilio told me, it wasn't supposed to work. It still works, so you'll be able to do the challenge for a while, I think. But yeah, a great challenge, Emilio. And I realized there's a lot happening underground, on the Windows system, that can give hints and help you investigate what's happening on the workstations. What fascinates me is that I've done CTF forensics before, not professionally, but at CTF level, and none of the tools we use today I used. Right? I was raised, not raised, but you see what you know what I mean, with autopsy, which is kind of a bazooka compared to what we use tonight, which is very like focused on the specific task at hand. And I really like what I saw. And I'm a bit of a fanboy of file systems myself. I have a lot of notes about file system, files recovery, and so I like the last flag because of the references to very good tools on that topic precisely. So yeah, thank you for the challenge, a nice track, and I think people of United CTF must have enjoyed it. Am I mistaken, or how did it
no, but
go?
I've received a great feedback from it. Um, I received feedback from people that were used to CTF, and they said that it was really someone said that it was really helpful for their job, that they've never seen it, but they could see use cases that they could use in an incident response or in a SOC, and they didn't know about. And this, I'm a blue team guy. I love blue team challenges. I've always loved like founding web servers, but my favorite challenges are always the ones that have a defense aspect or incident response aspects, something that makes you look after the fact and say, okay, I need to reconstruct what happens, and more of the I guess the analytical or
Investigation
yeah,
mindset, right?
investigation part. So
What happened?
yeah, for most classical CTFs, this category of challenges are often overlooked, I think.
Mm-hmm.
NordSec does a good job at having a mix of both type of challenges, but that's why I try to let, let even the playing field.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
No, I see what you mean. No, and it varies per CTF, as you just said. But it's true that the let's say the large online popular ones are clearly not fans of stuff like that, or if they have challenges like that, they're like, reconstruct a RAID array in an X editor type stuff, right? It's not
yeah.
like run a turnkey, not a turnkey, but a tool in an operating system that people actually use. It would be more like HiQ file system
Uh,
reconstruction or stuff like that.
and it might be a culture thing. I think the CTF culture is not as ingrained in the blue team people as it is in the offensive security people. I'm not sure why that is the case because we're quite, I think, similar in the what we like. Our passion is cybersecurity, and for a lot of people, and say
I think it's a matter of specialization, like there is now at DefCon CTFs all over the place, packet capture CTF, blue team CTF, and so on. And so the instead of having the big CTF open up to a varied category and having to reach out to other members of the community, I think instead it's easier for them to specialize, right?
mhm,
They're with their friends that does for a living offensive shit, like offensive in the sense exploitation, and so they specialize deeper in there, and they have the villages instead do the other types. And
mhm,
I mean, this is how I see it, and this is why maybe an initiative like NordSec grew differently, right? But you mentioned that we NordSec had good and is having good forensics, but you probably realize that it's coming from uh, just a few individuals which are very good. And so
yeah.
once these guys are out, if they are ever or not, it's gonna change the shape. So CTFs are built by people, and the people shape the event as
Mhm.
well. That's
Yeah,
another
obviously.
factor.
And I said I don't know if I said forensics, but what I meant is NordSec has a great balance of blue versus red team, I guess, exercises. Because I like the data science ones. They're not really offensive security, but they're not quite they're not forensics, but the use case in which you're going to use them is way more aligned with what you do in a blue team, I think, than in
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
offensive security context.
Yeah. Well, and I think there's some innovation and originality going into it, definitely.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
we dove right into some topics, Emilio. But I just want to remind everyone watching the stream that it's time for questions. So now I won't be looking at 7 different screens for a question. If you have a question for Emilio, ask it in the Twitch chat, which just go right here in front of my face. If I miss it, it's because the question was stupid and not because I didn't see it. And so far, no questions, so I don't feel like I insulted anyone here. We have a good first question coming in, which is Emilio. We know already your opinion on tab versus spaces, which I categorize carefully as an opinion. Now, Emilio, what about Vim versus Emacs?
So I actually never used Emacs. So if I have to choose between the two, I'm gonna choose Vim. This is what I actually use Vim weekly, I guess. But I'm not a Vim master. But I really like the the philosophy behind Vim, and I think what's best is when I code, I code on a full blown IDE. like PyCharm or WebStorm, stuff like that. Because I like the big refactor features that are not based on find and replace, stuff like that. So I guess if I could choose that, I would say something I want to learn would be the Vim workflow with the big ID. So if this exists, there are actually plugins for the JetBrains IDEs and VS Code to use Vim in the IDE, but still using the big nice features that are in the IDEs, and most of all, I guess, simple to configure.
But I see what you mean because I use Vim inside VS Code, but the idea is the movement, is the fluidity of selection of Vim once you've made the investment in learning how the dialogue works. So you're basically speaking with the text editor, right? I'm
Hmm.
saying to Vim, I want the next two paragraphs in my buffer, and then moving through paragraphs instead of single lines, and then pasting it there. And so it's tough to learn, but there are good tutorials. I
Right.
agree with your assessment. But the Emacs Emacs is very powerful as well. It's just unfortunate that the key bindings are different. So this is why there's such a big of a turf war. But and since we're dealing with computers here, it's not like on the road, right? Is left driving or right driving the right approach? Well, you need to coexist, so government decides. With editors it's not the same, but
Yeah, obviously. I respect
it's
everyone's choices, except for tabs versus spaces.
but this is exactly where I was gonna go. I thought you didn't regarding that question, but you did address that. I have a question. How did you get started playing CTF?
So my first CTF was right before I went to the university. It was actually iHack in 2017. And the reason I went was because I was in Sherbrooke just before the university started, and I saw that Jedi's existed, and I liked the page, and I saw that they organized this event, iHack. I didn't know it was Hackfest related back then, but I was like, what is a CTF? And I read a bit, I Googled it, and it was like, I know nothing about computer security, but this sounds like a game, and I love games. So I found a friend. I said, hey, when I go there, there's beer. It's for 6 hours, and we do computer stuff. He said, I'm in. He's a nerd as well. So he didn't get into computer security, but he came to Hackfest, and this was my first CTF, and I think I solved three easy flags, and I was, I guess, a bit disappointed, but I wanted to learn more. I was like, what are all these categories? I don't know what forensics means. I don't know what what PWN means, and I wanted to learn it all. And this is how I got started, I guess. And then from there, I didn't do CTF until Hackfest, when I saw on Facebook that my friend Maxime Carbonneau put interested in the Hackfest event on Facebook, and I wasn't really that close with Maxime back then, but I commented on Facebook something like eyes emoji or something, and from there we went together. We liked the event, and it kickstarted my love for CTF slash cybersecurity.
So you basically didn't have any clue, anyone saying you should come in. You saw a poster and or something on Facebook, and you were like, I need to be there, right?
Yeah, well, I was like, well, I've always been someone that like to organize events, but mostly go to events. Just be in events where people are there and there is a common activity that people are doing. So when uh, events plus computer got merged together, plus people from university that I might get to know, well, this was a perfect match. So I decided without hesitation, I'm going in.
Interesting. Um, I'm gonna skip a couple of questions because time flies. But so this challenge for United CTF, since when did United CTF exist?
So United CTF, the first edition was in
19,
2019. Yeah, this
19.
was the only on-site edition where the CTF was still for about 10 days, but the kickoff was with ETS and ULaval and Université de Sherbrooke. And we had a big event where people came, and in Sherbrooke we had beers and we had pizza for free, and we wanted people
You
to
you were an
really,
organizer back then.
yeah. And this actually was some drunken conversation we had at NordSec about wanting to do a CTF between the universities, because all the universities had their recruiting events. So in the beginning of the fall session, we had the fall semester. We have an event where we want to recruit people for our club, respective club, and we wanted to kind of unify that, to solidify, I guess, links, relations between the universities, and like
And
main.
avoid work, double work, right? You were
Yeah,
all
but
doing something.
a bit. We wanted to do the best event for all the school, but the main factor
Driver.
was maintaining and building a sane like competition mindset around the universities. So like a friendly competition
Between universities.
between the
Okay.
clubs, so people could write their university name in the scoreboard, so we could see how
Ah,
ETS is first, but this guy from ULaval is pretty good as well. So we wanted that kind of vibe from United CTF in the beginning. So this is what like brought us together. And I I think this mentality stayed, but I'm not in the organizing committee this year because I'm not a student anymore. But I hope it stays, because I think this was the main the with recruiting for your own club, seeing that other clubs exist and we have competitions where we go with those other clubs and we can meet these people and have a friendly competition. So that was the vibe we were going for.
okay, cool, cool. And so I was curious because you know all events were hit pretty hard by the pandemic, and you know, because we had to go online and stuff, and you just mentioned it for United CTF. And how was so United was its second year on pandemic mode, if we want. How was this year? And how do you perceive let me it's a trick question, but let me come with like open arms, not like showing that I want to trick you. But the thing is, like, you're at home, you worked or studied all day, right? You did already your thing. Why would you uh, participate in another thing that challenges your brain, where you can, Netflix, watch something or play some game or whatnot. So I think this is the challenge for us, online events, or events that moved online. So in that context, how do you feel United CTF did this year? Is it are we are people getting used to work online, or Are people completely tired and you think it needs to go back in person as soon as possible?
Well, I think it needs to go back in person as soon as possible because people are getting tired. But the thing is, United CTF is targeted uh, at university students as a whole, but most importantly, the new university students. So I think for as far as online events go, United CDF had a bit of maybe an edge because those people are like they're just coming to the university, so they may not be as tired of those kind of things as uh, professionals going to their 40th online event, or um, or university students going to their 40th online event once again. So since you start university, the well, I know that when I started university and I saw all those events that existed but I didn't know about until I went to the university, I was very excited to attend them. And I think this happens in this year. This still happens, but maybe with um, less intensity, maybe. So just for the stats, the participation of United CTF, there was more participants in the second year, so in the first year of the pandemic, than in the second year than in the first year. So the second year was actually the most popular, and this year was almost as popular as the year before. So we're talking about 200 participants.
No, but
So
yeah, you mean as the year before, you mean the first year, the on-site one.
okay, yeah. So there's the first year
Like
of the
this year
pandemic, and yeah.
almost beat the first year, the 2019 numbers.
No, the 2019 is the least popular of the three.
Ah, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
so that's kind of interesting, but
That's
a lot of
cool.
people
That's
did only one
encouraging.
or two flags. So but
Yeah, well,
it's still interesting to see, and I was surprised by that. I think it showed hope, I guess, but something like that, I'm not sure it's gonna hold on for say 5 years of online CTF. I think that the real experience comes when you can share that experience of CTF with other people. So, but
yeah.
I was pleasantly surprised to see those numbers for United CTF.
At the same time, we as a community, the big we, not just Montreal, but like CTF have always been online, right? The large events, the quals and stuff, played CTF builds, seesaw, which is something that a lot of university people do, uh, have always been online. So we're kind of used to that. But the difference is that we used to gather to play, whereas
Yeah.
now we are at home. Uh, but yeah, I'm always interested in seeing that because we're trying to bring Montreal back on site, and we talked about this. I talked about this in the opening, but we talked about this also offline. But it's difficult because of the venues and stuff like that. Right now, I think we have more appetite than what where we can find places that we could gather in groups that
Mhm.
is larger than what can fit in a single house, which would
Yeah.
which we would be allowed to do, but is something that no one wants to host fucking power and noise of 50 people.
I'm wondering if
um
somewhere like a restaurant would maybe host something like that. Like if people order something and they have like a second floor and they allow for a projector, we say it would be possible to respect the sanitary
The measures.
measures, and I think they would be financially interested in that. I don't know if it has been considered, but I don't know if people would want to like dine at a Montreal, but
I think
could be.
it's definitely worth thinking about. It's a great suggestion, especially like some restaurants already have like rooms and stuff. I'm thinking hotels as well. No, I mean, it's a challenge we'll have to look at.
Mm.
But let's switch to other questions. Um, I'll go with okay. So this track is today's track is a bit particular compared to what we had before, right? We downloaded a big file and then we opened it and then we did forensics on something that we should have done outside of it. But I think people understand that it's easier for you. It's more accessible to everyone. It's a very good idea actually to have everything in there. But so how did you come up with the idea? Where because this is not the kind of stuff that you come across outside of work, I would say. Am I wrong here? Oh, I need to preface this with, if you don't want to talk about anything, just say I'm not answering that, and no harm's done. Don't feel pressurized in some way or another to answer. If you feel like this is divulging sensitive information or whatever, just say skip
Yeah,
ad
yeah,
because this is recorded.
yeah. No, no worries. Well, my the idea for the track came uh, a bit after my last internship, where I learned about shell bags. So when my boss told me about shell bags, I was like, I've never heard of this, and he said that's a very cool forensics artifact on Windows. Look it up, and I looked it up, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. So I googled and I stumbled upon the 13 cube video, and when I listened to it, I was like, ah, that's very cool. This guy is very nice. He explains things very clearly, and I like his voice. And so I watched the whole playlist, which is still getting updated to this year. I don't know when's the last video, but it was this year. So when I saw this, I was like, I need to show the world, and this is where I got the inspiration to do a track. So initially, that track was made for a workshop at University of Sherbrooke, but nobody showed up. So it was the week just before the final exams. So and like forensics is a bit niche for the kind of workshops we did. Usually, it was a bit more broad. So this was really niche, and I guess people either were not interested or were very busy for the final exam. So I decided to recycle it for United CTF, which I thought was a very great place for it to put because I wanted forensics challenge in the CTF because I think that's important in CTFs, and I wanted this challenge to be oriented for beginners, which United CTF tries to do in most of their challenge.
Cool. I mean, and where did you? When did you get the idea of like, let's do a VM and put all the tools in so that
Oh,
it's
okay.
just
Well, actually, I was thinking about the simplest way to show the forensics artifacts, and I was thinking that so this is not the way forensics investigation work usually, but if I give people a VM that they just have to load, it's going to be way easier. They're not going to have to ask what tools do I need. The tool is in the VM, and you investigate the VM that you're in. So you don't have to ask yourself the a lot of the questions. So this was, in my opinion, the simplest way to show this this kind of knowledge, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
to beginners.
No, and definitely I agree with that because otherwise, like, if you want to be in a mode where you never share, you never touch the content of the disk, then everything becomes more like with gloves on, right? And you're like,
Yeah,
okay, I'm gonna like do an image, and then from the image extract the things, and then you copy everything
and you
just in
copy
case,
the copy, and then, oh,
and
yeah,
then
yeah.
it takes space, and you know it, the just loading mounting the NTFS file system to run a Python tool like the BMC tool is
Hmm.
doable. Like, it's kind of stuff I like to do, but for beginners definitely,
Hmm.
less accessible, like a VertFS guest, or you open it in Autopsy or VTK and then extract that the
Hmm.
portion you're interested in, and then run this other the BMC tool on it. So it's more
So
complicated.
it's a very steep learning curve, and this was initially designed for a 3 hours workshop. So so
Ah,
we didn't have time to even show these things. So it was
yeah.
going quite fast in the
It's a
workshop
it's
in
a
my
nice
head.
design. I think we'll aim to host it long term. I'll discuss with you about that offline. The Which okay, yeah, I want to address one question that came up in the chat. The United CTF, were the tools already installed on the VM?
Yeah,
And so,
they were, but I didn't tell what tool to use for what challenge. So I guess it was a bit harder in that sense, but I still wanted people to not feel intimidated. I know that when I started CTFs, and what I call, I guess, the ring zero mentality of like, we're not giving you anything, but try harder. I hate this when I don't think it's beginner friendly, and I think we should aim to make some challenges beginner friendly, and that means give them the documentation needed to solve the challenge. So I still gave the playlist, the 13Q playlist in the challenge, and I said this was really inspired by this playlist. And if you want to Google the forensics artifacts, you're gonna find a lot of information in them. So it was a bit harder than tonight, but not by much. I still wanted that to be really accessible, and people know what to look for if they never heard about what's a shell bag or what's RDP cache and stuff like that.
okay, so I'm gonna recap. You said a lot of things that I like, and I want to kind of spin on it. But so the try harder mentality, you attributed it to Ring Zero, but it's actually the offensive security that started this whole vibe. And I think Ring Zero is a much more accessible community than offensive security, which is really harder, and not harder, but like, I don't want to say, I want to be careful here with what I say, because I know a lot of people have their OSCP, and respect that, and I respect that. But it's basically no hints, right? The no hints mentality. And on this, I agree with you that it's a lot harder to learn and to rise up. So what I
Yeah.
like, and I guess the nuance with tonight, to answer Jan's question on Discord, is that basically, instead of having all the tools, you had a YouTube playlist of uh, hours of video content, and you had 4 tools on your desktop. So
Hmm.
basically, and you knew there were 4 flags, right?
Hmm.
So I like this. I really like this, to be honest, for beginners, because now you just have a 4 by 4 matrix to drill down, right? It's like 4 flags, 4 tools. What's the good one? And then you try to or there were 5 tools maybe,
Yeah, five
but
with FTK major. Yeah.
FTK, yeah, which was not necessary, but necessary to do the DB, so it was there.
Hmm.
Or maybe not. Maybe I'm mistaken here. But I think that that's a very good approach, and I think this encapsulates why it's super important to have new blood doing CTF challenges, because you've went through some pain and you design challenges around them. Like you think of yourself when you started learning, and this is key. I remember like my generation, I would say, in, because in computer 2 years is almost a generation. But we had we didn't even understand what was going on. My first CTF, it was just a train wreck. And um and I was like, this is not good. This is not fun. We were like playing whack-a-mole. It was an attack defense, and we it was just a train wreck. And this influenced us as designer, because we were like, okay, this can't be the way to start doing this, right? And so I see that in between, our generations, there were other challenges, but I like that this influenced you as a challenge designer.
And just to be clear, I'm not bashing on Ring Zero. I think it's a great website, a great CDF website, and the fact that it does not have hints has value on its own, because I remember when I got an internship at Go Secure, you asked for my Ring Zero handle. So this has value in it because yeah, I mean there are hints in Ring Zero, but they're not easily accessible. So I mean the fact it's kind of hard. You're not you're way more on your own than say on a root me where they give you straight up the documentation to read. So it has value, but I remember when I wanted to learn about CTFs and security, people told me do Ring Zero, and I think it's a very wrong
Steep
way
curve.
to get started. I think wrong might not be the right word. Some people will thrive in it, but I think for most people, yeah, it needs to be a way more what's the
Smoother curve.
yeah, smoother curve. And I think most people learn best with this approach. And when you're ready, you can do when you have the base knowledge, you can start the challenges on Ring Zero, and you're not gonna get discouraged very easily, because you're gonna be able to do some challenges, and you're gonna see your points rise up, and people might notice, and it's gonna be a way more fun experience, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, it, that's the problem with learning, I guess. Is very difficult to put yourself back into square one, right? So like you have more recent experience, and it's good, and we need to listen to it. And so it's good that we should focus our effort differently. I'm tempted to open the Montreal Hack learning resources page and see if we plug maybe too hard Ring Zero. I'm looking at it right now, and yeah, of course we do. We might. You know what? I'll add. I'll change that. So yeah, I'll try to share. I'm doing this a bit YOLO without my VJ being aware, but let's do it. I said VJ. I'm sorry, Julie. Stream manager, I guess, is the right term. So okay, so here we have like our learning resources, and we tagged like best in class, if you want. And so I feel like to me, Ring Zero is, a very very good resource, very nice community. But I agree that RootMe we should add another icon, which would be like gets like I guess a chart that goes upwards, and then add the root me with that logo. And so we splitted things differently, right? Open world, and to me they are really different. I know a lot of people are, you know uh amazed about Hack the Box, and they are even like groups everywhere now about that. But to me, they need to be categorized. Like, one is Jeopardy, one is Level Up, and I respect Level Ups a lot. We have like good ones. I'm not even sure if they're still online, to be honest. But then Hack the Box is more the open world type stuff. For me, it's important that this page keeps up to date. So if anyone in our community has um, ideas, we'll be happy to pimp that page. And as as you guys just heard, Hacktoberfest is not over, so you could have a. It's funny because I had this in my talking points. Is like, you can get your T-shirt of Hacktoberfest 2021 if you do a PR on mondrihack.github.com. We are participating. We have the label. So if you want to add anything in there, do a PR. It's a Jekyll website, super easy. And if not, then too bad. I'll get the T-shirt. Uh, so I really like your recommendation, and I'm gonna change that. Right?
Oh.
You told me it's something that should be differentiated, because you felt like that when you started. And I think it's important. I think it's super valuable.
Thanks.
Um, so I'm gonna close out with a last question, saying, what's next for you? What's like either like professionally, or CTF you're gonna play, or if you want to start a Hackfest team and you want to recruit, or if you want to, or if you want to, if you're gonna be a challenge designer at NorthSec. Like, spill the beans. Let us know what's you're up to.
All right. Well, since I graduated in April 2020, I've taken a step back in organizing stuff, and wanted to focus on my, I guess, home life, my adult life. So
Your
everything's going well.
happiness.
Uh, yeah, I guess on the band, but I was still happy when I was doing all these things at university. So it wasn't like exactly for that, but it was to I guess take time to settle in the job at home. And there was a pandemic, so I guess it was good timing for that. Um, but now I'm settled in at my home. I'm settled in at my job, so I'm starting to wonder what I want to do. I might I kind of miss like organizing stuff, so I'm thinking someday maybe joining the NordSec team. But if I join, I'm not sure it's gonna be as a challenge designer. If there is a demand and people would have me, maybe sometimes it would be more in the organization side of things. Maybe in the CTF, I know that each year I don't know who says that, but they're always looking for people for the team. And I
Always.
think I think that's cool. I would like someday to do that. So
So
this I
you're
think
waiting to be invited. You're not
no,
like
no, no. I'm not waiting to be invited. I'm thinking it through because yeah, the thing with Norsec is the CDF is so fun that getting
out of it,
uh,
getting kicked out of it because
no,
you
no,
have
yeah,
insider.
not doing the CDF is a big sacrifice for something that I know I'm gonna like, but I'm gonna miss. a lot with the quality of the challenges and
but
the CTF as a whole.
we have a team. We have the and not a lot of people know that, but there is a team, a table dedicated to organizers and speakers. So like 10% of speakers ever participate. But those that do, they are really cool people to hang out with. So let's say your job has nothing to do with the CTF so that you are free, then you can play in that team. You have your own separate infra. It's just you can't win.
Yeah, from
And you
my
don't have a formal team, right?
from my experience organizing activities and events, it's hard to enjoy participating in the events you're organizing
Well,
because
no,
of
Nordsec is so big. It's
yeah
like 60 people. So if your role is with the conference, you'll be enjoying the CTF. If your role is, it depends on what you do. If your role is in the CTF, then of course it's difficult to enjoy, right?
yeah. Well, this is a good argument. I'm gonna think it through, gonna let it sink in, and you might.
Nothing else to announce. This is kind of your time to plug if you want to hire anyone, or if you want to if you're presenting at the conference, or if you want to, I don't
No,
know.
I've been thinking about organizing, not organizing, uh, not doing, monter un talk. Uh,
Uh, Create
yeah, uh,
prepare a
prepare
presentation.
a talk, but it's still in the very early stage of what I want to do. So I've done a talk at NordSec with Francis Labelle with the PyRDP, and I thought it was a great experience. But if I do a talk, I want to have something not very nice, but that I know a lot and that I'm passionate about to present. So this is something I want to do in the future, but I'm nothing ready yet to announce. This is something I would like to do in in the near future, but it's still in the really early thinking stage. But no, I don't have any major announcement. Of course, your favorite financial co-op is hiring in the cybersecurity. So if you want a
Oh,
job,
that's good.
talk
That's
to
good.
me. But
And referral bonus, maybe.
I'm
I
not
mean,
saying stuff about that.
no, but I mean, it doesn't matter, right? You're offering people living in cybersecurity, so there's nothing shameful about that.
Hmm.
So yeah, how do you say this euphemism again? It's funny. Largest French speaking co-op financial institution, or its largest co-op financial institution, because
I think it's
we're
the
no longer
largest
just
financial
Quebec
co-op. No, it's the largest financial co-op in North America.
in North America.
Yeah, there
Okay.
are bigger in Europe, but in North America,
How
biggest.
about South America?
I'm not sure.
Not
I
sure.
would have to
We
talk to marketing for that.
Yeah, and maybe there's so much going on in South America that the largest might become the smallest. I've heard the news about inflation rate in some of
Yeah.
in Venezuela, and I was like, ew, that's crazy inflation.
Mm,
Anyway, all right. Thanks everyone for staying with us, and I hope you had a blast. I sure did, and thank you so much, Emilio, for your generosity. You can follow him on Twitter at twitter.com/res
RES.
260,
Oh.
and Montreal is online, montreal.ca. Follow us on Twitter and all that good stuff. Anyway, since if you're at this point in the video, you're already well aware of this. So I'm gonna let you go. And if you want to play some games and hang out, just drop in on a voice chat on Discord. We're gonna all show up, and then we'll decide what we're gonna do. So thanks for your participation.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks again, Emilio. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.